Ladies and gentlemen, 1966 in the NHL was an interesting season. Not only was Toronto stopping their quest to win four straight cups by their longtime rivals, the finals included two longtime rivals from the 1950s and in a rematch where a lot of people thought Detroit was going to win, but Montreal eventually prevailed in 6 games after losing the first two and winning four straight. So today we're going to take a quick look at the 1966 Stanley Cup Finals, basically because Montreal didn't have a very strong team in '66, and it was a bunch of grinders and no names and stars on their rise and stars on their way out, but it seemed to work. Now, the title series was a combination of the '66 Stanley Cup playoffs. Contested by the Red Wings and the Canadiens, this was the fifth Detroit-Montreal Cup final. They previously met in 52, 54, 55, and 56, with Detroit winning three straight and Montreal winning in 56. With the Red Wings again, the former tree and the Canadiens win the latter. The Habs defeated the Red Wings in 6 games to win the Cup for the seventh time in 11 years. This was the last Cup final appearance for the Red Wings for nearly 20 seasons until 1995. Now, Montreal swept Toronto 4-0 to stop the three straight run, and Detroit defeated the Chicago Blackhawks 4-2. Now, with this series, Toe Blake had coached the Canadiens to 7 cups in 11 years, which I don't think will ever be matched in the modern era. Henri Richard, a member of all 7 title teams, was scored a series winner in Game 6 in overtime. 2 minutes into the extra period, the pocket rocket broke in on Red Wing goalie Roger Crozier, lost his footing on the newly resurfaced ice as he cut across the goal mouth and sprawled into Roger. The puck went in, and even though Crozier and the Red Wings protested that Richard had pushed the puck in with his hand, the goal stood. His brilliant play and goal, even defeat, earned Crozier the Conn Smythe Trophy as the most valuable player in the postseason, becoming the first player to win the award as a member of the losing team. And of course, he helped the Sabres to the Stanley Cup final 9 years later, him and that overrated hack, Jerry Desjardins. Now, Game 1 in Montreal, Detroit dominated. They scored 1-0, made it 1-0 in the first period on a goal by Floyd Smith at 13:25. Backstrom tied it up for Montreal before Bill Gatsby put the Detroit ahead 2-1. Now, Paul Henderson, when he won his first most important game winner before his Super Series counters, scored a 2:14 to make it 3-1, eventual winner with Terry Harper scoring a 2:36. Now, Roger made 33 saves on 35 shots, while Gumper stopped 32. Now, in Game 2, Detroit won 5-2. Andy Bathgate tied the game with his 6th of the postseason at 18:39 after J.C. Tremblay opened the scoring at 6:55. In the third period, it was all Detroit, with Bruce McGregor, Ab McDonald, Floyd Smith, and Dean Prentice scoring for the victors, with Conway making it 3-2 before Floyd Smith and Prentice put Montreal away. Crozier made 23 saves while the Gumper stopped 29. Now, back in Detroit, they had led 1-0 early in the first period on a goal by Norm Ullman, but Dave Ballon and Jean Beliveau scored to make it 2-1 after the first. And in the third, Gilles Tremblay at 1:45 and another Tremblay goal at 3:21 made it 4-1, with Gordie Howe scoring his 4th of the postseason with 1 second left. Worsley stopped 29 shots, while Crozier made 27. Now, in Game 4, back in Olympia, it was Normie Ullman again staking the hometowners' early 1-0 lead before Jean Beliveau scored in 1951 in the second period to tie it at 1-1. Now, in the third, Ralph Backstrom had the only counter for both teams at 13:37. Crozier only made 3 saves in the contest. He was relieved by Hank Basson, who made 28 saves on 30 shots. Now, in Game 5 back in Montreal, it was all Montreal, where the Grinders did it for the hometown side. Now, Claude Provost at 1:06 and Conway at 1921 made it 2-0, with Ullman making a 3-1 at 14:22 after, making it 4-1 after goals by Ballon and Bobby Russo in the second. Now, Dickie Duff with his second of postseason at 5:31 wrapped up the scoring. Crozier made 28 saves while Worsley had 20 stoppages. Now, in May 5th, the game 3 still controversial. Jean Beliveau opened the scoring at 9:08, followed by Leon Rochefort at 10-11. But Ullman, who had a big series against Montreal, scored 11:55 on their power play in the second, while Floyd Smith tied it with his fifth in the postseason at 10:30 in the final. And in overtime, Henri Richard, with the deflection, got the winner 2-20. Worsley made 28 saves for the victors, backed up by Charlie Hodge, with Roger Crozier making 19 saves. Now, the on-team Team Montreal that year, Belleville, Backstrom, and Richard at center, and Richard again only scored in that last game. Dickie Duff, Cornway, Claude LaRose, Claude Provost, Bobby Rousseau, Leon Rochefort, Dave Ballon, Gilles Tremblay, John Ferguson Sr., Jimmy Roberts, Jacques Laperriere, J.C. Tremblay, Ted Harris, Juggy Talbot, Derry Harper, Noel Price on defense, with Worsley and Hodge. And of course, coaching administration, Hartland as the owner, the Molson, Jay David as president, Pollock was vice VP and manager, Hector Toblake was coach, Andy Galley and Larry Albu were trainers. Now, in '66, NBC decided to become the first TV network in the States to air a national broadcast of a Stanley Cup playoff game. The network provided coverage of 4 Sunday afternoon playoff contests during the '66 postseason. On April 10th and 17th, NBC aired semifinal games between the Blackhawks and the Red Wings. On April 24th and May 1st, NBC aired games 1 and 4 of the Stanley Cup Finals between the Habs and the Red Wings. Win Elliott served as a play-by-play man, while Bill Mazar served as color commentator for the contest, while CBC and SRC broadcasted across Canada. Now, NBC's coverage of the '66 Stanley Cup Finals marked the first time that hockey games were broadcast on network TV in color. The CBC will follow suit the following year. Now, ABC's Stanley Cup coverage preempted a sports anthology series called NB Sports in Action, hosted by Jim Simpson and Bill Cullen, who were between-period co-hosts for the Stanley Cup broadcast. No indication why they didn't show games 5 and 6. Now, the next year, the Red Wings finished a distant 5th, 24 points in the playoffs, marking the beginning of a 20-year slump known as the Dead Wings era. The Detroit only made the playoffs 4 times in the next 20 years, between '67 and '86, and would not return to the Stanley Cup Finals until '95, when they were swept by the up-and-coming New Jersey Devils. Now, the Canadiens would return to the finals the next season, but lost to the Maple Leafs in 6 games. However, the Canadiens would eventually become a dynasty, winning the Stanley Cup in '68, '69, '71, '73, '76, '77, '78, and '79. So this is like 3 dynasties together. The mid-'60s dynasty, the late '60s, early '70s dynasty, and the mid-1970s dynasty. So, ladies and gentlemen, what a series for the Montreal Canadiens. What a series for international hockey, because Chicago was considered, again, a big motivator towards international play back then. So, ladies and gentlemen, if you really want to take a deep look of why Montreal won that series, it's just that the Grinders outlasted the Red Wings, and Norm Ullman and Paul Henderson were gone in a couple of years. And this was quite ironic, ladies and gentlemen. Both teams were very loaded with Hall of Famers, and just a quick reminder. On Montreal, there was Belleville, Cornway, Dick Duff, Jacques Laperriere, who was injured for the series, Henri Richard, Gump Worsley. For the Red Wings, Andy Bathgate, Leo Boivin, Alec Delvecchio, Bill Gatsby, Gordie Howe, and Norm Ullman. Of course, Henderson's still not in the Hall of Fame. As coaches, Sid Abel and Toe Blake have made it there as players. So, ladies and gentlemen, a very interesting series. And my dad always said that why is Ralph Backstrom not in the Hall of Fame? He played a great series here. Him and Belleville had a tremendous postseason. So, ladies and gentlemen, for like what we're doing here with our Montreal Canadian Tribute podcast, let us know with a like, comment, subscribe, or share.